Dr. Osler 提醒我们说，久坐其实也是伤害很大，没有错。不过一般人很难去发现它的危险性，大家反而比较会注意到立即的就是背痛的问题哦。所以不管是这一个久坐还是背痛，我们今天都有稍微请 Dr. Osler 跟大家解释一下。引起大家的注意。我第一次看到这张椅子的时候，就觉得它长得非常的奇怪，不会演，就是看起来不太习惯。但是要实际去试坐了，做了之后，尤其是要做了一阵子，就会发现它越来越好做，越来越好做。
You know that this is a different kind of chair because the first time I've done this thousands of times by now. The first time somebody sits in one of our chairs, I was a gymnast when I was in college and high school. So the first time I sit somebody in one of our chairs, I want to spot them because I want to be sure they don't fall off. Because when people sit in a chair, they just throw themselves in and expect to land against a backrest and an armrest and all this kind of stuff. And if you do that with our chair, you might find yourself lying on the floor because our chairs require that you take responsibility for your posture. So people immediately figure this out, but they can be surprised in the first moment. So I always want to be sure that people sit down carefully in our chairs because the thing that makes our chairs so unusual is the fact that they move. The sitting surface of our chair is slightly unstable, so in order to sit in a balanced, upright way, you have to constantly be engaging your core muscles. It's not really an effort because your core muscles are just responding to gravity. You have spinal level reflexes that orient your body and your spine in gravity. You worked hard to develop these reflexes when as a toddler you went from crawling to creeping to toddling to walking. You have all of the reflexes to handle gravity effortlessly. You don't have to think about it. But our chairs do require that your muscles be involved to keep you organized. You may see that I'm moving just a little bit here, and the reason for that is, I'm sitting on one of our chairs, it doesn't move a lot, but it moves enough that you have to constantly rebalance in order to stay upright. No one has ever fallen asleep on one of our chairs.
Yeah.
And so this has several benefits. One is it causes people to constantly have to, at the spinal reflex level, reevaluate their posture and sit in a balanced, upright way without thinking about it. If you try to remind yourself to sit with good posture, you will fail because you immediately become distracted by your email or your phone or thinking about what you're going to have for dinner. You can't impose posture with willpower. But if you make a chair slightly unstable, your spine will look after all the details about your posture, keeping your posture upright in gravity. So that's one enormous benefit. As an epidemiologist, the bigger benefit is in order to stay upright and balanced, you have to use your core muscles. So your basal metabolic rate goes up by 10 or 20%. We've measured this with a metabolic cart where you measure the inspired oxygen, the expired CO2, and compute the caloric burn, standard stuff in an ICU. And so we know, we've measured in volunteers the paper's it's been peer reviewed, it's going to be published shortly in the journal Work. So we know that people's basal metabolic rate goes up. And we also know that if your basal metabolic rate goes up, even if it's only 10 or 20%, over an 8-hour day of sitting, you burn the equivalent of 3,000 steps of energy. So by sitting on this chair, I can add 3,000 steps to whatever my watch told me because my watch sees me as doing nothing. But if I'm sitting on an active chair, that's wrong. I'm working the whole time I'm sitting.